And it looks like we are live. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Alexi, your GM, and we are here playing Masks Golden No More, session 4 of 5. Yes, we get to have a 5-session series. This is very exciting. So we're in our penultimate session. This is a game organized through the Gauntlet gaming community. You can find out all about the Gauntlet online at gauntlet-rpg.com. And the game we're playing is Masks by Magpie Games. Check that out. It's a game about young superheroes finding their place in the world. It's a lot of fun. It uses the Powered by the Apocalypse system. And we are playing Masks set in the Golden Age. So that's the World War II era, the first era of superheroes when Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and many other comic book heroes first debuted. I think of our series as kind of a take on the Golden Age with modern sensibilities. I just received this excellent comic book, Superman Smashes the Klan, by Jean Luen Yang, which is set in 1947, but written with a modern sensibility and a real colorful style and kind of all ages sensibility. And I think that's great, and I think that's very much kind of part of what our Masks series in the Golden Age is feeling like. It's got the feel of a comic book, and it is set in the universe of Gauntlet Comics. Gauntlet Comics is a shared comic book continuity that many Gauntlet games have been set in. We've played superhero games like Masks. We've played other games just set in the Gauntlet Comics world. So folks have played The Ward about doctors in New Gauntlet City, or have played the Hogwarts RPG about magic kids in New Gauntlet City. And the Gauntlet Comics is currently having a summer crossover. So this series ties in a few ways with some other series that other GMs are running in the same Gauntlet Comics setting. And kind of the crossover's central theme is that the Gauntleteer is missing, the Gauntleteer being the most beloved, best known superhero of New Gauntlet City. And in fact, not only has the Gauntleteer gone missing, but the player characters are the only ones who remember the Gauntleteer at all. So in kind of each era of Gauntlet Comics, we're getting series about these player characters trying to unravel the mystery of the Gauntleteer's disappearance and maybe even bring the Gauntleteer back. Which brings us to our game tonight. So we've got a great set of players. They've been playing a great set of characters, and they've been on the trail of what has become of the Gauntleteer, and we're going to see them push forward on that. So let's introduce just ourselves as players real quick. I'll have folks go around character keeper order and go ahead and just tell us about yourself with your name, your pronouns if you wish, your online handle if you so desire, and anything else folks should know about you. I'll start us off. I'm Alexi Sargent, he, him. You can follow all of my gaming endeavors at Cloven Pine Games. I'm wearing the promotional Cloven Pine Games t-shirt right now. Anyway, I've designed some games of my own that you can find on itch.io, and you can also check out Cloven Pine Games on Twitter just to see some of my thoughts about role-playing games and other tabletop games. All right, so let's see. Stephen, you're up next.
Yeah, Stephen Desjardins, he, him pronouns. You can find me at stdesjardins on Twitter, and I'm playing Raggedy Jan, our plucky delinquent / leader of the team, who has illusion powers and psychic attacks, and who hasn't figured out yet that everyone else thinks she's the leader.
Getting perilously close to, though. Getting perilously close. Great to have you here, Stephen. Leah, you're up next.
I'm Leah. I'm playing Phantom Pain, a former Doom turned Harbinger who is guided by the voices of the dead from the future, because things got so screwed up now that there are just so many of them that I guess there wasn't room for them in the River of the Dead, and they've all wound up here yelling at me.
Good to have Phantom Pain back. And yes, like we were saying, Gauntlet Comics, it's got that comic book continuity, though we hope that's not a hurdle, but more of an enticement, an Easter egg for those who have stuck around long enough to see Phantom Pain as a Doomed and now see Phantom Pain as a Harbinger in this new series. Great to have you, Leah. Dan, you're up next.
Hey, I'm Dan. You can find me on Twitter at Brownorama. I'm running a couple of games for the Gauntlet, one in July, one in August. In July, I'm running Root RPG, and in August, I'm running a game of my own design called The Pack, about a group of domestic dogs who are surviving in the post-apocalypse. For this game, I'm playing a character called Blitz. She's a Janus with electrical powers.
Nice, and her her mask is a memento from where she the camp she was liberated from, or the camp that she liberated after accidentally acquiring these powers while undergoing experimentation. Good to have you, Dan. Good to have Blitz. Brian, you are last but not least.
Cool. So I'm Brian. I'm playing Brian, he, him, playing Clyde Carell / Red Robe, also he, him. Red Robe is the Conduit book, which is a custom take on the Nova developed by our GM here, and I'm giving it a spin through. It's a lot of the same themes, but mechanically reworked to fit a little bit better with the PBTA vibe, and it's been a blast so far. Red Robe is kind of just a kid who accidentally found himself with fearsome magical powers, and we're seeing how badly that goes.
Yeah. He there was some major collateral damage for a very minor use of his powers last time.
Minor and focused are different. Like that's the thing, right? Is that when you try to do something small with like a giant power, that's actually harder than not doing that.
Yep. Good to have you all. Let's so we got a sense of the players and the characters. Let's go back around and just get a sort of last time on panel, right, for each of these characters as a little mini recap. So Raggedy Jan, what would we see on a kind of parting panel from the last issue?
Oh, you ruined everything.
Oh boy! I mean, the last thing I remember was splashing into the water from our airborne van, and the most spectacular thing was creating an illusion of a whole bunch of Esters to distract. What was the name of the guy who was attacking us?
Johnny Earthquake.
Johnny Earthquake.
That's right. Yeah. You created a sort of field of false Blitzen for Johnny Earthquake to be to confuse his aim as he was flinging big rocks up at your teammate, and then you and Phantom Pain hit the water. Phantom Pain, what about you? What's a good last panel for her?
Yeah, I think our last time on sense, you see her head breaking the water, as they land in the lake. Hey, Beatrice. And a little bit just of that time fire still caught in her hair, and kind of it maybe has a weird effect art-wise. We just see kind of after images of her to get that sense of what happened last time, which is she stuck her head into a wooden diving bell full of time fire, and also the Gauntleteer, who in the future is a monster, as part of Solomon Industries' reformed, privatized superheroing. What a mess!
Yeah, piecing together your the future you're being warned of by sticking your face directly into the time fire.
Happens.
Yeah. Blitz, what would be a last panel for Blitz?
I think Blitz's story was a little bit simpler. Amidst all of the illusionary Blitzes, she was hurling lightning at Johnny Earthquake. I think he was trying to rise up out of the ground, right on a.
He was on a big pillar of rock, yeah.
So she was flinging lightning at that.
Yeah, and we can pick up right there when we return to you and see some of how that conflict goes. Red Robe, how about a last panel for you?
Speaking of that van, the van holding our very powerful, probably pretty fragile artifact is now submerged pretty deep in this lake. And the last thing you see of Red Robe is him ditching out of the van. So, gonna be hilarious.
Remind me, did you magically teleport out of the van, or like just like?
I'm pretty sure I did. I'm pretty sure. Did I? No, I dropped out of the van and then magically teleported to safety somewhat later.
Okay,
I think is how that actually worked out.
Fair.
There was magical teleportation involved, but I think I just like got out of the van and fell for a couple seconds first.
All right. So as you can hear, readers were left on a bit of a cliffhanger when we last left the team branded by the media the Sound Park Saboteurs. We'll see if they make a new name for themselves or accept that one. But when readers open up the next issue of the comic, they have to wait for the cliffhanger to be resolved because we get a cold open back in New Gauntlet City, your home, and first panel we get is a big factory, right, and it's covered in patriotic bunting. Right. This is clearly a sort of celebratory grand opening, and we see at the little kind of rostrum set up in front of this factory, waving for the flashbulb cameras, is Xander Solomon, Chief Executive Officer of Solomon Industries, who is saying, "Thank you. Yes, this is a great day for Solomon Industries and for New Gauntlet City. And I want to thank my friend, District Attorney Benjamin Morgan, for helping to make this possible." And he gestures over to the DA, who's also waving. There's a crowd gathered, because of course they put up the patriotic bunting. They've got all this stuff. People want to see what it's for. What is this grand new factory that Solomon Industries is opening up? And so Xander Solomon takes the old-timey microphone to explain as he says, "Victory in Europe is approaching, but now with Solomon Industries, I can promise victory at home. Other cities have their great superheroes, and for too long, New Gauntlet City has been left out. But that won't be a problem anymore, because this grand factory behind me, this is a factory that makes heroes." And he gives a gesture, and big doors open on the front of the factory, and stepping out of it, there's some folks you recognize. The former Blitz kinder, now in their patriotic regalia, as Xander Solomon continues his spiel. He says, "Yes, my rehabilitation program has been a success, and I am proud to introduce to New Gauntlet City the Thunder Patriots." And then behind them comes a large number of very very similarly built young men, all wearing kind of blue uniforms, and Xander says, "And I'm happy to announce we have also begun production of the Forward Guard, a home front hero army that will keep New Gauntlet City safe and great. At long last, our fair city will have the heroes it deserves." And he gives a big, shiny smile to the media. And keen-eyed readers will recognize, I think, that this Forward Guard, all of them gathered here, they're built very similarly to a friend of yours, to Brawl, a teammate who's not present here, but whom we'll hopefully have returning in the last issue. So, just to make the visual clear from this cold open. And we turn the page, and on the new page, we're back at the big lake north of New Gauntlet City that our team has traveled to. I want to start with Blitz. Blitz, you are in the air. You are amidst a sort of cloud of illusory blitzes summoned up by Raggedy Jan. I think they probably flicker for a moment as Raggedy Jan is like hitting the water below, but at least some of them are still around. So you've still got a little bit of cover from them. But on this pillar of earth below you is Johnny Earthquake, who is shaking his fist and directing boulders to fly up through the sky towards you. What do you do?
I'm alone up here because the
van's underwater. The rest of the team is down on the ground. You're the only one in the air. Yeah.
Red Robe is also down on the ground, right?
Yes. He's made his way down to the ground.
All right, so it's just me. I think, or what I'd like to do is unleash my powers and try and take down Johnny Earthquake.
So that sounds like it's probably a directly engage if taking him down is the goal.
Yes.
Yeah. So certainly you're going to use your powers, but kind of unleash your powers is the move more for when other moves don't apply as much. But if this is about fighting Johnny Earthquake, I think you're going to directly engage a threat.
Yeah, I feel good about that because her danger's in a good place.
Yeah. Tell me about the panel here. Then, what do we see as Blitz goes on the offensive?
I think she can fly pretty fast, and so she's moving on from. She appreciates the illusions, but I think to take Earthquake down, she needs to move fast. So she's sort of flying around the pillar as it's growing and flinging bolts at Johnny Earthquake himself, hoping to knock him out, thinking that taking out the earth he'll just regrow the pillar. And she's really just trying to shock him into unconsciousness.
Yeah. Let's see how that goes. Roll plus danger.
That's it.
I rolled a 4, which gives me a 7.
That's a hit.
That's still a hit. Yeah, 7 is a partial success. So you get to pick one of the options from the directly engaged list. You're by default on a hit, you exchange blows with the enemy.
I guess are my colleagues fixing to attack Earthquake as well, or are you all moving on to something else?
I think none of us have any idea, so you definitely have no idea.
I'm focused on being in the lake with the time bomb.
Yeah, I think you're pretty distracted by that.
Right. Like if something big and flashy happens, like at least I'm probably in a position to react, but I don't have like a next move in mind whatsoever.
And I think I can probably read that from the situation on the ground. I'm inclined to try to take something from them.
Have you ever done that before? Like you as a player?
Me?
Yeah.
I've never played this game before, so
so you can do some crazy stuff with that. Like it's something is frequently very broadly interpreted. Like if you want to knock him off, you can take his footing. Yeah,
I was going to say taking his footing is a legitimate interpretation of that. Unless there's something else you want to try to take.
I did not realize it was up to me to decide what the something was.
Yep.
Now, even more intriguing.
Pending my approval, right? It's like I want to take his powers from him. I don't think your electricity does that.
Well, that's what I was like. Are his powers created by a device of some sort? Because maybe I could take the device out.
Ooh.
Or is he?
He was like a mutant kind of dude, but
I don't think we've established one way or another. Very plausibly, he has some sort of device on him. You can definitely take that off and see what happens.
Yeah, if you're lucky, it's an amplifier for his powers. If you're unlucky, it's a stabilizer.
What could go wrong?
Yeah, so I dropped a picture into the character keeper. I'll stick it into the chat also. Like dude in a pretty like basic brown costume, bunch of rocks all around. But yeah, you wonder is that like belt of his some kind of a device that's doing something with his powers.
Yeah, I'm gonna assume that I can sense the source of his powers and attempt to deactivate or overload that thing so it's no longer functional.
Nice. So okay, yeah. So you're flinging electricity. You're zapping whatever kind of the sort of locus of power you sense on him is. Yeah. So like the belt is like sparking, and he's like, low blow. Right. And kind of this whole like pillar of rock he was standing on just starts shaking and collapsing, and so he is sort of falling through the air. But he just physically grabs a rock, right, and like chucks it right at you, right. So clearly like powers are on the fritz, but he's still like upset and considers himself in the fight. I'm going to ask you to take a powerful blow. We'll see if we'll see if it's a direct hit or a glancing blow as this boulder is just flung at you.
All right. So take a powerful blow. I roll plus conditions marked. I've got one marked.
Right. Ooh.
Plus one is 10.
Yikes, dude.
That's all right. So you're getting hit, and you're gonna tell me which of the options you pick from the 10 plus list on take a powerful blow.
Oh, interesting. I'm curious to lose control of myself or my powers in a terrible way.
Yes, that's the best one.
I was about to put in the chat, I once played a campaign with Leo where she chose that option so often we joked that it was one of her basic moves.
I will
You
choose.
learn something about your powers when you do it.
Yes, but it's always something terrible.
All right. So up in the sky, Blitz takes a direct hit from a boulder, and like down below, I think the rest of you like feel like a little like electrical crackle, and like your hair stands on end because there's just there's just lightning flying in all directions from up there. Down on the ground, Johnny Earthquake hits the ground with there's like sort of a like mini shockwave spreading out from him. Red Robe, you were the one standing on the lake on the side of the lake, right? So the ground under you is rumbling, and it looks like that's just the foreshock, and a bigger aftershock is headed your way from the impact crater that Johnny Earthquake has made. What do you do?
I want to turn it around. I don't think I'm necessarily even... You could convince me that this was a defend. I don't think I'm directly engaging him. I might be unleashing my powers. But I sort of like see where that's going, and like don't necessarily want my teammates and I in the midst of it. And I'm just sort of like reacting kind of neutrally. Like I know actually how about that goes the other way.
I see. You're deciding whatever little seismic activity is headed your way, you want to just send it right back.
Right. And so that might be unleashing my powers. It might be defending my teammates. I'd go with either read of that.
Yeah, defend makes sense since you're standing at the edge of the lake and two of your teammates are bobbing in it right now.
Okay, cool. That's one of the things that is not currently affected by a condition, so that's good.
Are you using phenomenal cosmic power to do it?
Ooh, that's a good question.
It's an
Yeah, no, let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. So that's an 11.
Okay, nicely done.
It would have been a 10 without phenomenal cosmic power. But hell yeah.
All right, yeah. When you defend someone with the display of your might, roll plus freak instead of plus savior, and on a hit, in addition to your other options, you can choose to awe an audience into respect, silence, or admiration. Okay, so you've defended someone and you've kept them safe, so you're definitely turning that wave of earth around, and it's not going to be rocking the boat in the lake at this point. You get to choose a benefit from the defend someone list.
I think I'm gonna clear guilty. It's not like I've still got things to atone for, but I think my sort of like immediate like, oh my, I'm putting all of my teammates in danger thing is not as operative. And I might as well on audience into respect, silence, or admiration.
Yeah. So I think like as the wave of earth is headed towards you, Johnny Earthquake is like standing up, brushing himself off, and then as you like send it right back at him, there's a panel of his just eyes going really wide, and he's like, what even are you, kid? Right?
Can I poke in here for a second?
Yes, Phantom Pain. What are you thinking?
Oh, I think I missed completely that Red Robe has done this because I'm staring up at Blitz, who's done full like 4th of July up there, right? And
very much so.
And there's like a panel of her doing that, and then another panel where like all that power is kind of grayed out in the background, and there's this like swirling tunnel of ghosts. Because remember that I said I was spying on Esther, who I didn't realize was Blitz initially, because the ghosts seemed to think she was very important in some way. And I think now's the moment where like they've fully understood or are able to explain why. I'm going to roll connecting the dots.
On Esther?
On Esther, yeah.
Nice.
Okay, yeah. You're trying to figure out who Esther is in the future.
I'm going to mark afraid to do this one.
Right, you have to mark a condition for this move.
Yeah. All right. So I'm rolling +1.
Yep.
It's a 4.
Let me check on the miss condition for this. On a miss, they're not at all who you thought they would be. The GM will choose their role or tell you that, as far as you know, they don't exist in the future. Oh, fascinating. So I'm looking at the Harbinger, right? Who has these roles that you're slotting people into, because this is a playbook all about weird future stuff.
I can tell you which I've got open.
Yeah, you've got Monster filled with the Gauntleteer. You've got Corruptor filled with Solomon Industries. I think it's that the future knows of Esther as the architect. And specifically, what the ghosts are whispering is, Esther Kushel, she's the one designing the weapon aimed for the stars. And
empowering it too, I bet.
Say one more time.
Empowering it too, I bet, given that display.
Plausibly. So that revelation hits you like a bolt from the blue. You know what else hits you like a bolt from the blue?
Would it be Esther's powers?
Yes, a bolt of lightning also hits you like a bolt from the blue. Please take a powerful blow.
Oh, and I just marked the condition. It's powers. Alexi, I choose
Yes.
to lose control of my ghost connection to the future in a terrible way.
I'm shocked.
This is an amazing series of dominoes here. So Blitz is blitzing in the sky. Phantom Pain. Can you give us like just the first panel of what it looks like for Phantom Pain to be losing control of her powers?
Well, I'd established, that tunnel of ghosts between me and Esther, as they all were fixated on that. So I feel like that lightning bolt, almost might not have hit me at all, except it ricochets down all the ghosts till it can't do anything but hit me. And it has some of that purple fire on it by the time it lands after ricocheting off multiple ghosts, because that's what happens when lightning hits ghosts. And all I'll give you, Alexi, is suddenly we start to see that stutter step, multiple Phantom Pain timestamps all at once again.
Yeah. So Raggedy Jan, you were clinging to Phantom Pain when the two of you hit the water. You've come up for air, right? And you see that she is fixated on the sky above, where Esther's going supernova, and then suddenly she reacts like she's electrified, and you're seeing her, right? You're seeing Kathleen in just different guises, right? It's like she's kind of rapidly fluctuating between the Phantom Pain and other weirder Phantom Pains, right? Like one that's more of a kind of monstrous chain draped ghost girl, one that's in an army uniform, just different timelines of Phantom Pain are flashing before your eyes.
I think I am. I think I am going to try to get Phantom Pain to pull herself together. I mean, I feel like I want to use my psychic powers here somehow to help her regain a sense of herself.
I hope you get me to pull myself together into the right one.
Yeah. So
Raggedy Jan?
It's like I'm using my illusion powers to project an image of this is who you are. This is who Phantom Pain is, and I'm trying to remember who I am. Remember who you are. I'm projecting these images of things that we've done together.
Yeah, I mean, it's plausible to me that's a comfort or support. Using your powers, but kind of getting through to your friend is the objective. Does that sound right to you?
That sounds right. That sounds right. My mundane is terrible, so this can go wrong. This can go horribly wrong in amusing ways. Okay, so that's a 4.
I'm willing to go however hard you want to go on this, Alexi, in terms of who we've got now.
Let's turn the page real quick. But Raggedy Jan, do mark potential from that, and do we? I guess Phantom Pain should have marked a potential from missing on Esther. Yes,
I did.
Good. So we see Raggedy Jan, pulling up illusions, right? There's illusions of the various fights that the two of you were part of during your time with the Allied Angels, tracking down the Golden Eagle clone, or other incidents where the Allied Angels clashed with with supervillains and or the authorities. But yeah, we see kind of just Phantom Pain sort of vibrating, and it's hard to see what she's resolving into. But meanwhile, up in the sky, Blitz, there is what you can only describe as a maelstrom of ghosts, kind of converging on you. You've occasionally like seen glimpsed them or heard like just little whispers of them surrounding Phantom Pain, but this is the first time you've seen a bunch of kind of Phantom Pain's ghostly friends just trying to do something else, and they seem to be trying to surround you, right? Like your lightning is sparking everywhere. You were kind of losing control after you got hit by that boulder, and now what you have on your hands is a ghostly maelstrom closing in on you, and the lightning seems to be not deterring the ghosts, but sparking off of them in these little like purple gouts of flame. What do you do?
I think the assumption that Esther makes, that I make, is that Phantom Pain has a connection to these ghosts, and so I assume that they're here on her behalf, and that since I have come to trust the team and Phantom Pain, I sort of let them consume me or do whatever they're intended to do, because my trust for Phantom Pain runs very deep, having exposed my face to her.
Okay, yeah. So you decide not to try and flee the ghosts or strike back at them or anything like that.
I almost assume that they're here to help.
Yeah. So kind of from all directions, you hear the ghosts whispering. They're whispering, "Architect." And then like one of them, and you can't hear them very well, right? Like you're not Phantom Pain, you don't have a ghostly connection of your own, but they're clearly like pushing to try and tell you something. And so like from one of them you hear, "You have to build in a flaw, remember." And then and then indeed like the ghosts kind of surround you and like cocoon you, and you feel your powers like come a little more under control, right? Like no longer is your lightning sparking in all directions. I do think it's uncomfortable though, having this sort of ghostly smothering. So I'd like you to just mark a condition.
Great. And I want to take Brian's suggestion, which is to now that they're getting in close, maybe try and assess the situation. Like what's going on here?
Fair enough, yeah. I'm
going to take insecure. Like, I thought these folks were going to help me. For assess?
Yeah, so roll plus superior. And I guess which is at -2 because you are guilty.
That's not right.
It'll be fine. Oh, well, maybe not. Mark potential.
5.
Yes, do mark potential. Oh boy. So yeah, you're looking around, trying to understand what's going on. Just indulge me. What sort of question were you thinking of asking with this assess the situation? From the kind of assess list of questions.
How could we best end this quickly?
That's a fascinating question, isn't it?
Always the question you ask when you're stormed with ghosts.
I think
I kind of feel like this is sort of like remember at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, where all the ghosts are coming out of the Ark, and you're like, okay, that's a thing, and then they get really scary. That's kind of where she's at. So she's like, okay, I got the message. I think I got it. How do we make this go away?
Nice. Yeah. Okay.
Oh no.
So here's what happens, right? Like it's this like ghost storm converging on you. Like the ghosts are looking more and more strange and inhuman, and as their like faces kind of like warp and stretch like putty, right? You're feeling like, oh, are they here to help me, or are they just trying to consume me? And then kind of pushing through them, you see a woman who looks a lot like Kathleen, like your friend Phantom Pain. You would guess her mother, just kind of staring out of this cloud of ghosts, and she says, "He won't let me talk to her, but you need to warn her. Dr. Anatos, he's warping the dead to his own ends. She's the only one who can stop him." And then this ghost woman reaches out, like puts a hand on you and pushes you hard, and you find yourself plummeting down out of this dangerous ghost cloud. And for your flight seems to be offline. Like your kind of powers were out of control. They got kind of like tamped in, and now you seem to be plummeting. Red Robe. If you look around, you can see that Raggedy Jan is talking to Phantom Pain. Probably that's fine, right? Blitz is plummeting out of the sky, and Johnny Earthquake is looking up and saying, "I didn't do that."
Yeah, I've seen Blitz fly, and I know that that's a thing that she can do, but this doesn't look like that. How fast is she falling? Like how like scary is this? Is this like a?
She's falling the way you would expect a person who cannot fly, who was suddenly up in the air, to be falling.
That's sort of what I figured. I think I'm rolling another defend, but I think I can't justify phenomenal cosmic power for this one.
Right, because you're just doing the minimum to defend Blitz. Then
I think that's right.
Not tapping deeply into the amulet. Okay. What does that look like? How are you hoping to defend your plummeting teammate?
I think what I want is like soft, which turns out is like a thing that you can achieve with some updraft, right? I just want air going up, and if I do that pretty fast, it will be enough to make this landable.
Little cushion of air, then.
Yeah. It'll be scarier than that, but that's going to be how it actually works out if it works. All right, let's try this. Rolling plus Savior. That's a 9.
Okay. All right. So you're going to keep them safe. So Blitz, what is your kind of bumpy but non-injurious landing look like here?
I almost think I've blacked out a little bit. Like it's completely. It's now completely unrealistic for me to be falling. Like it's just such a weird. And plus the ghosts were super scary, so I have blacked out from fear. So I imagine she's sort of hanging limp when the cushion of air catches her.
How far is she away from me?
Why do you ask?
Like in the XY plane.
Probably so.
Like, is she directly overhead, or is she like off somewhere at some non-trivial distance?
She wasn't directly overhead, but you could try and sprint over and see if you can get close to her before before anything else happens.
Okay, but I'm not going to catch her.
You could if you teleported.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
No, that's cheating. I'm not cheating for this. That's not. Clyde wouldn't do it. He wants it, but he won't do it.
Okay, so like cushion of air, softens her landing. She's still out of it, right? Like if not totally blacked out, at least dazed and not.
I'm imagining her panels are very blurry, like evocatively blurry.
Blurry panels, sure, yeah, yeah. So, but you have right. Was that a 9 then on defend? Okay. So
which means I still pick one, but something bad happens to me.
Yes, you get to pick. You get to pick a benefit from defend, but you're also going to pick expose yourself to danger or escalate the situation.
Oh man, this situation has had so much escalation, but part of me feels like I should go full Leah and see how bad it can get. All right, so I'm going to clear my last condition and then escalate the situation. Let's see what happens.
So we've got 3 moments of truth on the table. If we want to get through all of them, we're going to need some.
What could go wrong?
So you've chosen to escalate the situation?
Yeah. 0 conditions though, so it's going to be fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So like, Johnny Earthquake yells over at you. He says, "I get it now. I was tracking the seismic disturbance you were bringing with you, but that wasn't you. That was something else you've managed to piss off, kid." And there's a sizzling, gurgling sound from the lake here, as we get like we turn the page, right, and get a full page splash of a massive lava monster exploding up out of the lake, right? Like this is big creature, made of stone, parts of it still molten, and it is roaring, saying, "The great cities of the underrealm will be avenged, injurious surface dwellers." And we'll just say that in one of its hands, it's holding up the van that you guys dropped it deep into the lake.
Can I do something?
What are you thinking of?
I want to smash the van. I just want to absolutely smash the shit out of the van.
Roll to unleash your powers.
That's what I figured. Good luck, everyone. That's an 8. We're not pushing that up. Cool.
So unstable or temporary?
Taking insecure.
What's that? Sorry.
Taking insecure. Assuming that even though I want a transient effect, I'm going to get something out of it, and trusting you to figure out why I don't regret this.
Okay. Yeah.
I think one move without conditions.
I think we get that full page splash of the massive magma monster, holding up the van. We get an inset panel of Red Robe reaching out, eyes starting to glow, and then we get a final panel just of the van itself, and there's a little sound effect, and it's like, ping, and that's when we turn the page to an ad. Because we're going to take a little bio break here. How about 10? See you guys at 10 past the hour?
Sounds good.
All right.
Feel free to shout if I don't respond. I'm almost certainly at my computer.
Cool. All right. All right, we are starting to reconvene. Brian, are you there? Yay!
What's up? Yeah, that was
I'm
way
back.
better. I actually totally forgot what time we agreed on.
No worries. I did not expect so many losing control of one's powers in a terrible way. So here we are. We open back up our comic book, and for the first page, we are back in New Gauntlet City. It's clearly the same big crowd gathered to see the grand opening of the new Solomon Industries factory, but we're kind of at the back of the crowd where Father Thomas from St. Mary's is assisting an elderly parishioner, helping her to keep her feet in the midst of this crowd, and relaying what he's hearing from up front, but he can't help but add a little commentary. And he says, The Thunder Patriots indeed. I've heard of repenting in sackcloth and ashes, but never in stars and stripes. And then coming over towards him is another character that our heroes would remember, Ma Rockwell, mother of Rosie Rockwell, a hero and friend to some of our protagonists, and now the guardian or protector of Kathleen Phantom Pain, as far as having a parental figure. So Ma Rockwell, whom in our last issue we'd seen the Sound Park saboteurs help to remember the Gauntleteer. Unlike the other people of New Gauntlet City, she's had her memory jogged and her mind cleared a little. She's walking over and says, "Father Thomas, could I ask for your help?" And you see she's got like a stack of posters clutched in her arms, and he says, "Why, Mrs. Rockwell, how can I be of service?" And she hands him some of these posters, and she says, "Could you put some of these in the vestibule of St. Mary's?" And the panel like zooms in, and we see it's a poster of the Gauntleteer with the caption, "Remember the Gauntleteer? Solomon Industries doesn't want you to."
America.
And we see Father Thomas like looking over this quizzically, and he says, What exactly is this?" As Ma Rockwell says, It's important, and it's going to help the city. We've all got to do our bit." And we turn the page from that back to our heroes at the lake. Though Raggedy Jan, you were the one who had made this connection, had helped Ma Rockwell to remember the Gauntleteer and kind of realize that there had been psychic trickery afoot by forging a little psychic connection with her. So what's the one impression from this this event taking place in New Gauntlet City that kind of like comes over to you of what's going on? Like what are you picking up from that lingering psychic link there?
It's like for some reason I'm just getting this little flash of Father Thomas and the Gauntleteer, and I don't know why I'm suddenly thinking of the two of them together, but I have a feeling that it's important.
Oh, fascinating. Okay, yeah. So, Red Robe, you smashed the van, and I think there's that that panel again, just a little like ping as we see the van in the hand of this this molten giant that's surged up from below the lake, and then there's a panel. No, there's a page that's just like all purple, right? Maybe with like the tiny silhouettes of our heroes in the foreground. Phantom Pain, whatever version of you it is that's coalesced, and I'm sure we'll get to meet her in a moment. How do you get yourself and Raggedy Jan like out of the lake as this kind of firestorm of time explodes?
Oh, well, I train for this kind of thing all the time. So, I think we see first like a tight, slightly less, but still clearly ghostly bun rather than the hair we saw down or braided a moment ago. And then, Raggedy Jan, a ghostly arm, like clutches your arm and, it's in uniform and braid and hands you a snorkel, a little prototype snorkel from off her belt where she has several useful things. And Phantom Pain says in a different kind of clipped voice, like, quick, we've got to get out of this water, and like pulls you as you like dip under where it's safer. And by the time you kind of kick your way out and free, you can see it's of the ones that Lexi described, the soldier Phantom Pain, who's just clearly from a whole different reality. And she looks around and goes like, I didn't think the Axis had made it this far into our territory. And certainly not in an alliance with the lava monsters. We had several productive talks with the mushroom people ongoing. What's happened?
And right, it's like I think you're in the wrong time. Maybe I don't. This is a disaster.
She said, we knew that the Gauntleteer going missing, we talked about it, you and me, was destabilizing everything. But which am I?
Amazing.
Yeah. It's Solomon Industries. That's the problem. Those are the bad guys here. The Johnny Earthquake and we got the Gauntleteer in the van and I don't know about the lava monster. He just showed up.
All right, if you've got the Gauntleteer somewhere here, I'm sure I can help, and I'm sure somehow things will all be set right. Solomon Industries, my ma hasn't had any problems. She's working in their factory.
Oh boy. Okay. So the van blew up. Did I see what happened to the cradle thingy?
Yes, the orb. So I think like there was this purple explosion. You and Phantom Pain, pulled yourselves up on the shore. You're having this exchange, trying to figure out which Phantom Pain it is. But you look back and you see now. It probably, what, this is an issue that's going all in on these like full page spreads, right? So there's now a dried lake bed, right, where the lake used to be, and there are like fossilized bones, protruding out of the dried lake bed, and even like a bunch of signs, right? A bunch of signs, but they all have kind of unfamiliar insignia on them, right? Like there's like a property of the American Empire sign with like a big like crazy double-headed American eagle on it, and it's like you're looking at you're looking at an ancient lake, but not from the world that you're used to. And where that massive magma monster had stood, there is just a giant crumbling statue of igneous rock. It's got like moss halfway up it. It's like clearly been standing there forever, right? And then in like a big like crumbling hand, there's just sort of a half shell, right? Like a half wooden sphere where like purple fire is burning. So it looks almost like a Statue of Liberty, with a hand holding a torch, but instead of the Statue of Liberty you're familiar with, it's a big petrified magma monster, and the torch is purple fire coming out of just a half of that wooden sphere.
Okay, I think I'm assessing the situation here.
Yeah, it's a good situation to assess, I'd say, because like there's a lot to take in. Yeah, Raggedy Jan, roll plus superior.
That is a 10.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
finally some good news, huh? What questions would you like to ask?
Right. Well,
And
first
because
of
of your
all,
criminal mind, you get some bonus
Right.
questions.
right? Yeah. What is the best way in past to the orb across the lake?
Oh yeah, best way to the orb. The like dried out ground of the lake bed looks a little treacherous, right? Like I said, there's these fossils protruding from it. It looks so like dry and dusty, like it might just like crack and crumble away if anyone set foot on it. So it feels like flying to the orb is your best bet.
Okay. And what is currently the biggest threat?
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, right? Related to before, as it doesn't look like anyone should be touching the lake bed. You can see Johnny Earthquake like striding over, looking like that's exactly what he's planning to do, right? Like like he's spotted the same remains of the orb that you have, and like just like muttering under his breath, don't know what these kids are doing, but I'm getting my bounty. So he's headed towards it, and you worry that he's just going to cause big problems if he tries any of his at this point somewhat unstable Earth geokinesis on this this dried out lake bed.
What here can I use to distract Johnny from his purpose?
Yeah. Well, a thing we learned last time is that Johnny Earthquake, while a super crook, is has a bit of a soft spot for the youth of Sherwood, right? Like he's definitely laid low in that neighborhood, and sometimes played the Robin Hood by dispersing his ill-gotten gains there. So I think if you appealed to him on those grounds, you might be able to at least create some nuance for him in the situation here. Does that work for you?
Yeah. All right. I'm going to take the chance that he knows Mary Annika Baroshka and switch to my civilian identity and I am going to try to talk to Johnny Earthquake.
Okay, yeah. So like as dropping the Raggedy Jan illusion and going over as Marianica Barushka.
Yeah, it's like Johnny Earthquake. It's me,
Huh?
Mariana. It's me, Marianica.
From the Iron Fist?
Yeah, look, there's more here going on than you know about. Look.
Are you a superhero?
I'm a reporter. Superheroes are big news.
He chuckles. He says, "Big news indeed. That right there," pointing out at the orb. That's the biggest bounty in, well, I was going to say in New Gauntlet City, but in the environs of New Gauntlet City. And if I can bring that back to Solomon, I'll be able to hang up my costume for good. Take care of Granny and no longer have to be knocking over banks.
But if it and I'm trying to think of how to do that. But what about the Gauntleteer? And I am going to try to use my psychic powers to make him remember the Gauntleteer.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Trying to keep spreading the knowledge since you got through to Maraka
That was
before.
something that we did so successfully with a willing target last time.
Right.
So that does sound like an unleash your powers then.
Right.
And I guess take +1 because you're indeed appealing to the Sherwood ties, and so you get a bonus from your assess the situation.
All right.
Oh no.
That's a 6. Do we have any team in the pool?
My belief is you have one team left in the pool. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm willing to help here.
Oh yes.
Raggedy Jan, would it work for you that whatever is blocking knowledge of the Gauntleteer here is like different enough than what's blocking it on Phantom Pain's dimension that you can amplify through that, or it can in some way boost or help you make your psychic connection if you're drawing off of her knowledge, albeit of a slightly different Gauntleteer?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, right. I mean, I think like Phantom Pain is able to like make ghosts manifest. I think like just. I mean, I think just it's like I can convince Johnny Earthquake that Phantom Pain is the one doing some of the psychic heavy lifting. That it's not Mary. It's not,
you're trying to keep your cover,
right? It's not this teen reporter who's making this psychic connection. It's
yeah. I can definitely help you sell that. I think the small complications. There will be definitely some flashes that are not of our Gauntleteer going on, but that's okay. They're close enough probably to help.
Right.
So kind of with your powers combined, putting forward the Gauntleteer, trying to sort of psychically jog Johnny Earthquake's memory. Does that push it up to a 7 then?
Yes.
My Gauntleteer is Gauntlet on the other hand.
Ooh. So when you unleash your powers and get a 7 through 9, you are going to do it, right? You'll create the effect, but it will be unstable or temporary unless you mark a condition.
Yeah, I'll mark a condition. Let's. I'll mark insecure because this situation has gotten completely out of control, and I feel like it's my fault.
Yeah, legit. I mean, you are the leader, as maybe you're even starting to realize. Yeah. So Johnny Earthquake does a big double take, blinks several times. He says, "Whoa, the Gauntleteer, the biggest hero in the city, and I didn't remember him. What's going on? Who did this?"
Solomon. Yeah, it's Solomon Industries. They're playing us all for patsies.
So
the whole city, the whole country.
He grinds his fist into his hand. He says, "I guess this payday was too good to be true. So why Solomon want that so much?" And he points over at the orb, which is, as I said, serving as a weird torch of liberty in the middle of the lake.
Because that's the one thing that can bring the Gauntleteer back. And I think I am trying to provoke him into helping us rescue the Gauntleteer.
Yeah. We'll turn to that in a moment. I want to cut over to Blitz. Blitz, you were kind of if not blacked out, grayed out right after your plummet that Red Robe managed to arrest. you start to come to, but your helmet just feels so close and like hard to breathe behind. What do you do?
I sense you're suggesting that I do my moment of truth.
Oh, that is always up to you.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you something about what Esther's feeling in there.
And I wasn't quite ready to do the moment of truth.
Yeah, no pressure. Just because what you do might be I try to ignore the feeling, right?
I think she walks a little bit away, turns away from the lake, and takes her mask off and just sort of takes a big gulp of air, which probably is pretty gross and smells like lava or whatever at the moment. But
it doesn't smell like lava. It smells like age, right? It smells like dust and kind of old stone and moss, like you're intruding on an ancient place that hasn't been disturbed in many centuries.
So she, on the one hand, I think that kind of doesn't give her the refreshing breath of fresh air that she needs. On the other hand, I think it kind of reminds her why we're doing this. And she sort of takes a moment to think about the architect and the flaw and the encounter with Kathleen's mother. And because of that, she kind of puts her helmet back on and walks over to Phantom Pain and asks if she can have a moment of her time.
Weird Army Phantom Pain, let's go.
Oh, fascinating. Yeah, so Phantom Pain, this person's approaching you. Do you recognize Blitz now that you are a different Phantom Pain?
I think I go straight up for a salute, and then as though she's my commanding officer, and then am deeply confused to see her out of uniform.
But you still recognize the mask and the electrical powers sparking off of her?
I think I recognize the powers primarily.
Okay.
Why are you in civvies?
Phantom Pain, are you feeling okay?
Raggedy Jan says I've been pulled sideways somehow from where I usually am, but if you work with me usually, I work with you usually, and I trust you. And I know we're all here to save the Gauntleteer forever together. And then after that, we'll push the Germans out of our country.
Esther started to think, does she mean me? She says, well, I need to tell you something about something that I saw when I was up there amongst the ghosts.
What is it?
I saw an older woman who looked just like you. It was surprising to me how much she looked like you, but it clearly wasn't. It wasn't you, and she told me to tell you something about Dr. Anatos. Does that name mean anything to you?
Well, he was starting to infiltrate Solomon Industries, but we worked together, you and me. We rooted him out. We kicked him out of there. They were grateful we exposed a traitor. He's dead.
Maybe in your timeline, but in your reality, but not in this reality. Because your mother said that you're the only one who can stop him.
What do you mean, my mother? You said you were talking to the ghosts.
So I have some bad news about this timeline. And I know this is going to be hard to hear, but I am guessing that Kathleen's mother, in our world passed away.
Here's my question: is Blitz's breaking of this tactful enough to constitute a comfort and support?
I'm willing to find out what the dice who hate us say about that.
Blitz, would you be willing to roll plus mundane if you think, because it sounds like you are trying to be like very careful as you introduce this to the phantom pain that you have in the hopes of not upsetting her. Is that right? Sound right?
Yeah. Yes. I don't know, I feel like Dan's going to need some comfort and support after all this. Okay. So I rolled a 6 plus mundane is 7.
Okay. That works because on a 7 through 9 for comfort and support, they hear you, they shift labels, clear a condition, or mark potential if they open up to you. So phantom pain, what do you say?
I forgot to unmute. She was fine. I saw her this morning. She was using some of what we had of the ration butter to make pancakes. I was only worried about the Luftwaffe targeting her factory. She's gone?
Look, not in your reality, but in this reality, she is.
But then it must have been a near thing because so much of this is the same. Some parts are different, but if she's so close and she made it where I am, do you think there's a way we could still save her here? Alexi, I'm pushing to use my when you share a tale of future loss with someone, ask whether they think you have the ability to avert that loss.
You know what? That works, right? Like, we've got a super weird harbinger at this point, but I think that tracks. Is that your vulnerability move?
It is. So what do you say, Blitz?
I say I'm in over my head. I say the phantom pain that I know doesn't let anything stand in her way. And if you think you can make this work, if I'm here to help you.
What do you think, Phantom Pain?
Yeah, I think I'm going to clear a condition from the comfort and support and mark potential because maybe we can do this.
And I believe you give Blitz influence over you also.
Yes. So Blitz, go ahead and shift my labels in whichever way seems right.
Which version of you am I shifting your labels for? Oh my gosh, this is so confusing.
Comics, everyone. I think it's just how you see Phantom Pain, and that can be just the Gestalt Phantom Pain in Blitz's head, and Phantom Pain will have to deal with that.
I agree with this.
Leah, I'm thinking that the shifting reality presents a danger. So I'm thinking danger up and mundane down.
Always a good way to react to
sounds
something.
fair.
He's a soldier.
I will make the shift, danger up and mundane down.
Nice.
All right, let's go save the Gauntleteer.
Red Robe. You can see that Raggedy Jan is working on Johnny Earthquake. You can see that Blitz is talking to what's probably Phantom Pain, though she looks like much more in uniform and in regulation hair than the Phantom Pain you most know. And you've taken in what has happened after the smashing of the van and the releasing of a lot of this time fire. It's an old lake all of a sudden. What do you do?
I want to know just what the hell, what the actual hell. I think is really where I'm at right now. The world doesn't make sense. Like, I sort of look around quickly and decide that indeed the world doesn't make sense. I feel like I could look around some more, and by the time I was done, the world wouldn't make sense. I need more than that. I'd like to use Eye of the Storm.
Okay. Yeah, this is a conduit move. When you find or make a quiet moment to open your brain to the cosmos, you may roll plus conditions marked.
Let's do it. And so we've started seeing this before, right? It's like an almost like the gesture is almost evocative of prayer. It's grabbing the amulet, sort of like looking down a little and, you know, hoping for the best, man.
Yeah. Before you make the roll, I'll remind you that conditions are, conditions can just follow the fiction. If there's a condition you feel you're feeling, you can just mark it, and then that'll give you a bonus on the roll. Isn't that great?
It is, but I think, if we were playing the Spiderweb set and I was a villain and confused was a condition, I would take confused. But I'm not sure any of the Mask's hero conditions really fit right now. Like, things were going pretty well. I did something that was medium stupid. It appears that none of my teammates are dead. Great. Let's move on.
Phantom Pain is no deader than usual, I guess.
Right. Everybody is the normal established amount of dead. Was the normal established amount of dead?
Oh, was that a Snake Eyes on Eye of the Storm?
Yeah, it was. It makes me feel better about not taking an additional condition. I'll tell you what.
Let's take a look at that. Yeah, on a miss, mark 3 conditions and draw unwanted attention.
You want to tell me a little bit about the attention before I pick which condition not to take?
Yeah. So you are opening up your brain. Yeah, kind of tapping into your amulet.
Man.
And I think the vision you get, the vision the amulet thinks is the most important thing to let you know about right now, is the underground army that is winding its way up from deep below the earth, intent on you. There's there's a crazy magic looking woman at the front of it, right? Wearing a gold chainmail robe, and saying, the surface worlder who stole the amulet, we will reclaim it, follow me. And then there's cries of there's war cries coming from the thronging mushroom men and rock golems all following in her wake.
I'm really not into these folks.
They're not into you either, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I see that. All right, well, gonna go ahead and take afraid, hopeless, and guilty.
Nice. And as you open your eyes, you could swear you feel a little rumble from below ground. What do we see actually? What do we get a panel of these conditions landing on Red Robe? Is there a way your teammates can tell what's kind of going on for you?
I think you see one of the panels is juxtaposed with the end of the vision, right? You just you see the horror on my face.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see me actually taking stock of what's happened since the last time I did something incredibly stupid without talking to anybody. And it is that I appear to have created an ancient monument out of nowhere. And that also the Gauntleteer is still missing. And so there's this, you see this sort of you see me against images of the world around me with the realization that this was pretty dumb and also appears not to have worked.
Yeah, poor Clyde. I'll say Blitz, Phantom Pain, you two, if you have your wits about you, see this kind of sinking and defeated posture of Red Robe. So But for the moment, I'm going to have us take a panel back over to Raggedy Jan. Raggedy Jan, you were trying to provoke Johnny Earthquake. What do you say? How are you pushing his buttons here?
Right. Well, I mean, now that he remembers who the Gauntleteer is, it's just I'm appealing to him. I'm just appealing to his better nature to help us free the Gauntleteer.
Better nature, sure, I guess. But what's in it for me?
Yeah. I mean, you see what Solomon Industries is doing to all these villains and heroes and stuff. Mind control. We don't get the Gauntleteer back. How long do you think you're going to be a free agent? How long do you think it's going to be before Solomon Industries just grabs you and puts some I don't know, control chip in your head and makes you.
He involuntarily puts his hands over his head. Right? Go ahead and roll plus superior.
That's a 9.
Cool.
And we're cold out of team, right?
Yeah, and in fact, you never entered Battle Against a Dangerous Foe as a team because only Blitz really tried to fight Johnny Earthquake.
And nobody tried to fight the lava monster. Literally none of us.
Possibly wise. Yeah. But on a 9, they can take the bait, or they can do one of those other things. But I think he is going to take the bait. You've made a you've made a compelling case, and he says that he's like, gotta admit, you got something there, Marianica. All right. So what's the plan?
That think bed's not safe. We need you to make a bridge to get us to that orb.
All right, here goes nothing. And he adjusts his belt. He's like, your friend got this on the fritz, but I think I got this working. Here goes. Lifts up his hands, and a big earthen bridge starts rising up out of the non-ancient earth, right? The part of the ground he was throwing at you earlier, and just kind of starts arcing up over the lake and over towards that kind of hand with the orb and the purple flame in it. He says, well, how about that?
That's pretty good. Let's check this out. And then it's there's a big story here, and she strides all across the bridge.
Okay, yeah. So you're just setting off onto the bridge.
I think I head that way too.
Nice. Okay, yeah. Following Raggedy Jan / Marianica's lead.
Yeah. As usual.
How do your teammates know about your dual identity? Phantom Pain definitely does, yeah. But have the others kind of seen you as Marianica before?
Oh, I don't know, but I figure if they don't know, they probably think this is some kind of illusion. So I'm
right. It's not like they're not used to Raggedy Jan putting on different appearances as needed.
And the priest wasn't extremely subtle when he addressed her.
Yeah.
There's no real life overlap.
Right.
I'm not sure whether I intuit that this is what she really looks like or not, but that seems immaterial in a way that it doesn't with Blitz.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think I haven't been super careful, so it's I sort of
real contrast to Esther / Blitz, who was very carefully preserving her secret identity and keeping the mask on all the time. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Speaking of Esther, are you following the team onto this bridge?
Yeah. I'll go along to see if I can. Actually, you know what? I take a moment and I sort of just check in with Phantom Pain, and I'm like, "Are you okay? We should go and help the others."
Yeah, she's kind of looking at the small walkie-talkie radio thing she has on her belt that's slightly different looking tech than we're used to, and It's just, I think you can tell from the way she's handled it, like she could have called her mother on this in her world. And she clips it back onto her belt, like stands up and goes like, I'm ready to do what we have to do, and goes out onto the bridge, cracking her ghost knuckles. They go plip, plip, plip.
Good sound effects. We
Ooh.
riding across the bridge.
That's awesome. So let's paint the scene slightly, because this is a strange little transit we're taking. I'd love to get from each of you just one detail of kind of what like strange, out of time anachronism you see below you embedded in the lake bed. Raggedy Jan?
It's like there's this this set of biplane jetpack wings from this famous World War I hero.
Oh yeah, excellent. Yeah, like the flying ace. Their kind of flying device is just kind of like embedded in like a wall of rock down there, maybe.
Yeah.
Red Robe. What do we see that kind of shows the like bizarre ravages of time fire on this lake bed?
I think it's not all strictly forward. I think like not all of the fossils below us are things that had lived in that lake in the last several 100,000 years. And we see some like really weird, like almost alien sets of bones there.
Yeah, like weird kind of like coral-esque bones, where it's like there's little hollows in them, and the question like briefly arises in your mind, like what lives in the hollows of these creatures' bones?
Yeah, where it's not clear where or when this is from, but it's definitely not like a change in one direction.
Yeah, legit. Blitz, what sort of do we get on panel of like you taking in the strangeness and the kind of wacky time convolutions of this lake that we're now seeing?
I think there's kind of a far future version muddled up in here, where the people of Earth have made contact with alien species, and so there's a bit of alien tech jutting out, and it is just unusually shaped. It's unclear what it exactly is, but it's got alien writing on the side, and the shape is very distinct. And I'm also wondering if this sort of like she's sort of taking in the whole scene, but this one image stays in her head. And I'm wondering if this is kind of inspires the thing that she ends up architecting.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, because the visions that Phantom Pain had suggest Esther is the architect of this thing meant to strike back at space. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Phantom Pain. What's something we see as part of this lake bed during this this long walk along the bridge Johnny Earthquake has extended for you?
I think there's just fragments of what looks like it was some sort of enormous skull with like a massive tooth that's pierced some kind of shield that has an ODA insignia on it.
Oh yeah, the Fire in the Night. Yeah, this family of monster hunters throughout the history of New Gauntlet City. So there's like a big like bit of a monster there, and a piece of ODA armament in the mix.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we get panels of the four heroes walking along the bridge, and then we get panels of these strange artifacts and fossils in the lake bed. There's a sense of kind of quietness to the walk, I bet, but the question I have is, do any of you say something to a fellow hero while you're walking along? Anything you want to say, Raggedy Jan?
I'm not thinking of anything offhand.
No worries. Red Robe?
I am sort of desperately craving comfort or like validation. Like I feel like I have made several consecutive independent decisions, none of which have been even like really noticed, and including like at least 2 that have led us to this place. I'm sort of like.
Did you, Phantom Panda? You're going to try to comfort Red Robe?
Yeah, I think I fall into step alongside Red Robe, and like catch sight of that amulet of yours, right? And I say, "Wow, you've made a lot more progress than the you I know. You haven't gotten to take the locks and safeties off of that yet, which in the witch that I'm from. So that's really impressive."
It can be worse.
No, and she like clearly like has seen what that thing can do in different ways, is not going to touch it. Like that's not bound. Like you've been handling that like without a throttle on it. It looks like, and without a supervisor. Like that's amazing. They said it's years before they're going to let you have full access, but if the war keeps going the way it is, they may change their mind. So I'm going to the comfort and support that that what you're doing is unreasonable in some sense.
That is exactly what I need to hear, I think. I'm definitely very open to this.
All right, that's a 9.
On a hit, they hear you. They can clear a condition, mark potential, or shift labels if they open up. Red Robe, what do you do?
Yeah, I'm definitely opening up. I'm trying to figure out how and what I'm working on. I think hopeless is what that's targeted to. I think I look back and am like, sort of a little bit encouraged by the uniform, actually. Like the most important thing is having rules. It's scary, and I don't always know what it's going to do, but I always know why. And that I can control. And here we are. I think this is probably what it looks like when Clyde tries to share a moment of triumph. What do you think, Alexi?
That's very sad, but I'll buy it. When you share a moment of triumph, when you share a triumphant celebration with someone, mark potential if they can look you in the eyes undaunted. So Phantom Pain, what does Red Robe see? If he makes eye contact with you?
Yeah, Phantom Pain looks at you like I think actually she even says like it's really encouraging to know that my Clyde has the potential to be you.
Oh. All right, so marking potential and also melting.
All right. And Blitz, anything you want to say during the walk on the bridge?
I think I walk up to Jan. I catch up to Jan, and I think I'm also going to try the triumphant celebration and congratulate her on actually moving the mission forward. The rest of us have not.
Fuck you.
Um, so I'm like, uh, I know it must be hard to pull us all together, especially since a couple of us are still trying to really get used to what it's like to have powers and try and do some good in the world. But you've really just been a really positive influence on us and have done such a good job in keeping us our eyes on the ball.
Oh, well, you're a natural at this, but it's like nobody needs to tell you what to do.
So part of that triumphant celebration for Blitz is when you share a triumphant celebration with someone, ask them if they see you as the person wearing the mask or the person underneath.
Right, and it's like I feel like I see them as the person wearing the mask. I don't really know the person underneath, so.
Yeah. Okay. So Blitz, tell us what happens there.
Um, uh, my response is what you're asking about.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm looking at your team move here, your triumphant celebration move.
Right. It says mark potential and clear a condition.
So those are the mechanical benefits, but you can tell us kind of how Blitz reacts on panel also.
Yeah, I feel like she's sort of standing up a little straighter, and maybe she's starting to finger the mask, like she's, although she appreciates the vote of confidence from Jan, who she's just increasingly come to respect. She's starting to wonder if this sort of dichotomy in her life is becoming more of a hindrance. Like she herself wants to be appreciated, and not the mask.
Yeah, totally. All right. So I think the whole set of you have kind of reached closer to the end of the bridge. Up near this torch-like leftover of the orb. Still like this polished wood that somehow is the one thing that looks the same, but half of it has been blown off, right? And this purple fire is surging up from it, and like visible now that you're close up, at the end of the bridge, looking at this torch, right? Visible now there's a human figure, right? Like a grown man's figure, just like huddled up in the fetal position, as sort of a shadow in the midst of this blazing purple fire. And on that panel, I think we'll take another little break. So let's come back in 10 minutes at about 1:15.
Nice.
All right. See you all then. All right. So we're opening up our comic book once more, and once more, there's a little page of meanwhile back in New Gauntlet City, and we see Father Thomas. He's in the vestibule of St. Mary's, and he's kind of putting down those posters that Ma Rockwell gave him. Remember the Gauntleteer posters? Puts them down next to a stack of Catholic Workers, a magazine, and there's a stack of books by Dorothy Day, a stack of flyers for the soup kitchen at St. Mary's. But he takes a second, looks more closely at the Gauntleteer poster and says, "Gauntleteer, why can't I remember? Oh Lord, what have I been made to forget?" And then he walks quickly to his little kind of cramped little study right in the vestry, pushes through a kind of a shelf of prayer books and pulls something out that was stuck at the very back, holds that in front of him, dusts the cover off. It's it looks a lot like a prayer book. It's a leather bound volume, but it's bound in purple leather, and there's a little golden kind of gauntlet stitched onto the cover of it. And as he's looking at this, there's a loud knock over on the door of St. Mary's, and that we get a panel of just a battalion of the forward guard, those heroes that Xander Solomon was showing off, and they're all kind of gathered in front of St. Mary's, and we'll turn the page from that. So, at the lake, in the hand of the stone giant that has now become an ancient statue, there is a burning purple torch and a figure curled up inside of it, and the four of you have reached it. Raggedy Jan, what do you do?
I mean, I guess this is definitely an assess the situation moment.
Perhaps this is a good situation to assess. Yeah. You're kind of taking in what this is and trying to piece together what to do next. Is that right?
Yeah. So that's a 9. That's not bad.
You get to ask a question, and you can always ask one of your criminal mind questions, I guess.
Right. Right.
It's been pointed out. It's been pointed out that I forgot to show off the character keeper. So I'm gonna share the screen so that if people have been watching and wondering what do these characters look like, they get a chance to see. So Raggedy Jan, or I guess Marianica, what sort of question are you asking from the assess list?
And what here can I use to free the Gauntleteer, or do whatever it is to this orb that will reveal its secrets.
Yeah. It looks like there's just like a little of this time fire left, right? That most of it just kind of burst out of the orb and did what you saw done to this lake. But there's just a little left still clinging to this figure. How are you gonna get rid of that? I mean, I think you feel like if you could direct that into the lake bed, it would cause further weirdness down there, but but the person within could be freed. Does that work for you?
Sure. And yes, what if I get a criminal mind question too? It's like what here is useful or valuable to me.
Nice. You know what? What's probably useful to you is something that could pin this on Solomon Industries. So we'll say like left on the bit of the orb that we have here is what's clearly the Solomon Industries insignia, just now transmuted into wood.
Right. Okay. So. Like Blitz, do you think that we need to drain this energy off? Do you think you can like set up use your lightning to set up a connection between here and the lake bed?
Actually, says Phantom Pain, why do we need to reach as far as the lake bed? And she takes off one of the gloves of her uniform, because she was in dress uniform for some reason where she was. Goes, I think I can handle this. She looks to you, Esther, who she believes to be her commanding officer in the parallel time, like for your sign off.
Proceed.
All right. I'm going to unleash my powers here, Alexi, to absorb the time fire.
Energy absorption is technically the power that you selected, which we've just flavored in extremely ghostly ways all throughout. Yeah, obviously there's ways this could go wrong.
I am rolling +3 with the advantage of that assess.
Then we'll see what the dice say.
The dice that hate us. All right, dice, you tried to stop me, but that's an 8.
So this is either going to be unstable or temporary, or you're going to mark a condition.
Can I bargain with you for it to be unstable in a way that mostly affects me, the person absorbing all this time energy who's not supposed to be here in the first place?
I see. So you're willing for it to be unstable or temporary as long as that means your teammates aren't bearing the brunt of it.
I was also mostly thinking of the Gauntleteer. I just wanted what I'm doing to work, but whatever effects on me it has.
Yeah. So you're just reaching out, touching
with like a little more self-control and confidence than our Phantom Pain sometimes does. Like this Phantom Pain clearly wouldn't stick her head into a sphere that was formerly metal, now wood, full of time fire. So it's like watching someone touch one of those those electric balls that they have, the ones where it goes and it's highly ionized air. Yeah, okay.
Vandergraaf?
Hmm?
Oh, it's not a Vandergraaf.
No.
No one. I know what you're talking about. Sorry.
I built a ray gun out of one for Halloween once, but I don't remember what they're called. All right, so she touches one of them and it goes and then like her whole arm, like it's like St. Anthony's fire, like going all over her, where she's just bordered in purple, and she seems to be trying to, as far as teammates can tell, I mean, we get like a little glimpse for a second that like there's some level of connection between her time and our time, made by that, and she's almost trying to bleed off the time energy to the space between parallel worlds.
The artist gets that brief and just like pulls his hair out when he's like, okay, great. Rips the page off of his drawing board and it's like, all right, space between parallel worlds, here we go. But it turns out really great. Everybody loves the effect where the panels of the comic themselves become like the space between parallel worlds, where the purple is bleeding off so that the borders of panels are now purple because of the fire leaching out into the in-between space.
Yes, I'd say most of the energy we see her successfully drain off, almost all of it. And the only thing that I'm pretty sure happens during this is that walkie-talkie she's got starts to sputter and squawk a little.
That is fascinating. I do I do think possibly the instability also manifests in you taking a powerful blow from just like taking all this time fire into yourself.
That seems fair.
All right. So you don't have any conditions somehow. So
I rolled snake eyes.
How do you resist or avoid the blow of this time fire?
Well, clearly she's the better Phantom Pain.
You can try and open up negotiations to see which one you keep. But yeah, so I'll mark potential from doing that. I think there's clearly a moment where this Phantom Pain like starts like shuddering and like fuzzing out into other ones like before, which for a second might feel like progress to getting yours back. But maybe the weird covered in chains ghost one, who just definitely seems like not the best one to pull, starts firming up. And Alexi, does it work for you if like we hear for a second like Kathleen, are you there? From the walkie-talkie, and
from the walkie-talkie. Yeah.
Kathleen pulls herself together as she hears what Esther has to at least recognize as her mom's voice.
Oh man, yeah, that's great. But you pull yourself together, you mark potential. We get that little, jagged edged word balloon from the walkie-talkie for a moment. But yeah, the purple fire has dissipated, and now all that's in front of you is a kind of empty wooden half sphere, and like huddled up in it is a man in the uniform of the Gauntleteer. You'd recognize his costume anywhere, but he's kind of hugging his knees to him, and so you can see he's like looking around, kind of wide-eyed and frightened, saying, "Where am I?"
You're like north of Gauntlet City. It's a lake. It was a lake.
He looks around. This doesn't seem to clarify that much for him, but you notice he's barehanded, and is not wearing his signature gauntlet.
Like, what happened to the gauntlet?
What happened to what?
The gauntlet. I pointed the hand which he normally wears it on. Do you know where it is?
He stares at his own hand. I feel like you're trying to pierce the mask.
Sure.
Do it.
That's what, mundane?
Yep.
Correct.
Yo.
Yeah, I got a 9.
Nice. You get to ask one question from the Pierce the Mask list.
Ooh. How could I get your character to remember what happened to you?
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. So he's staring at his hand. He's like, Gauntlet, the Gauntlet, and then he looks up. He says, "Kids, someone's been monkeying with my memory, and that won't stand. I need you to get me to Father Thomas at St. Mary's."
All right.
Well, the good news is one of us can fly.
Yeah, the bad news is we kind of trashed our van.
And as you guys are taking this all in, you hear like Johnny Earthquake, who I'm sorry if I didn't make this clear earlier. He's stayed behind, kind of like maintaining this big bridge, right, while you guys walked along it. But he's like yelling all the way across the lake to you, saying like, "Hey, we got incoming! Something big rumbling up from below."
Right.
Oh boy.
All right. So I want to break off this Solomon Industries insignia from the orb.
Yeah, and you can just do that. There's no more weird time energy in the orb at all. It's
right.
just a weird wooden orb, and you can splinter it off.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So let's get off of this. Let's get off of this bridge and figure out a way to get back to New Gauntlet City fast.
Nice. Red Robe, what do you do?
I'm following the team. Flashover will get me a little bit, but presumably would knock me out way before it got me home. So,
It's an interesting question. You do have more conditions than most people do.
No, for sure. I also have this like sinking feeling that I know what's coming.
Is it a sinking feeling or a rising up from the underground feeling?
As it turns out, the way that it works when you're on the surface is the same.
I mean, I've got to ask, like, since you have your moment of truth unlocked, like, as you feel how much is coming up at us, do you feel like you have something to match it with?
We'll see is the answer. I think I.
And whereas you actually unlocked it, did anything change in your relation to the amulet?
I think Clyde's whole thing is very much like a sort of aspiring stoic restraint. And so like he sort of like vaguely understands that he has distressingly large powers at his disposal and wants to use them as little as possible. And I'm not sure that it's like we'll see. I think is but he's definitely not going to unleash the like full brunt of them preemptively.
That's fair. So are you trying to do something right now, or kind of waiting for? I'm
trying to get across the bridge as quickly as possible. I think with everybody else like running across the bridge.
Okay. The Gauntleteer it does not seem like totally steady on his feet.
I mean, I'm happy to give him a hand if nobody else is, though I feel like Blitz is probably the best choice given if we lose the bridge, Blitz has the best chance of doing anything.
I'm happy to provide some stability. Do we feel like Johnny Earthquake is going to lose control of the bridge based on who's coming?
Hard to know. You could try and assess the situation to figure out what the problems are. He just says incoming, right? Like he's just like yelling warnings out to you from back on the lake side.
Let's just run and then have the problem turn up. I'm ready.
Yeah, I'd like to. I don't feel the need to assess. I'm just running and holding him.
Okay.
I think somebody can assess. I'm happy to assess if nobody else is going to.
Yeah.
All right. So Blitz, you're supporting the Gauntleteer. He's saying, "Thank you for your assistance. Who are you, by the way?"
I'm Blitz. I zap things.
And who am I?
My understanding is that you are the Gauntleteer, the hero of New Gauntlet City. In fact, when my family and I arrived, you were nabbing a bad guy at the top of the Statue of Liberty. And you were such an inspiration to me as I had newly acquired my powers.
He says, "Huh. Well, that's something, all right. Well, listen, I guess you get to return the favor because I was in a real jam back there, and you're an inspiration to me." And he gives you like a cheesy smile, but somehow it's like it's totally works, right? It's like
is that a label shift? That feels like it has to be a label shift. I don't even know which labels.
Savior up, mundane down, probably. You're taking that? Makes sense. Yeah. So then Red Robe,
take it from the Gauntleteer, man.
Red Robe, it sounded like you were trying to assess what's going on.
I think that's right. I think I'm sort of like, I have this sinking feeling about what might be going wrong, and I'm looking really hard to confirm or disconfirm. So I'm pretty sure guilty counts against this. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes, you're rolling
I'm rolling at
-2.
-2. Narrowly missed.
8 minus 2 is 6. Yeah, so I have good news for you. You are going to get to confirm or disconfirm what you're worried about.
Oh boy.
So as like you guys are like hustling back along the bridge, Blitz, Raggedy Jan in the lead, Blitz supporting the Gauntleteer, Phantom Pain feeling the last of the kind of purple fires, dissipating into her, like finely controlled ghost energy absorption, and Red Robe like looking ahead to see smashing up out of the ground a massive drill-like horn as a mechanical war rhinoceros comes drilling up from under the ground, and like on its back are a bunch of mushroom men, waving various kind of weird looking guns, right? Like they look like something out of a Republic serial, science fiction double feature. And Johnny Earthquake is like, oh no, you don't, and like throwing up big walls, and the mechanical war rhino is smashing right through, and the fungus men are firing plasma bolts at Johnny Earthquake, and from the rumbling behind them, it sounds like that's just the first of a whole wave smashing up from down below. In the chat, Red Robe is asking if these guys are recognizable. I'd say that
Brian is asking whether off-dimension Phantom Pain specifically recognizes them. Has talked about making peace with mushroom people. In character, I have no idea if anyone recognizes them, and I certainly don't, except from my scary vision.
Yeah, you had that scary vision.
Yeah, I take a look at the leader of the mushroom people. And I'll go ahead and mark guilty about, seeing our allies turning against us here. But I'm in this universe now, listening to this universe's ghosts. I'll roll connecting the dots.
Okay, you're really connecting the dots on the mushroom people.
You asked if I knew who they were, Brian.
No, I love it. That was excited.
It's a 7.
All right.
Remind me what happens on that.
On a hit, I connect who they are now to who they are in the future. Pick that role, and you will tell me about their future self. On a bigger hit, I get a follow-up question, but this is fine. So I'm looking over my options.
We've used most of the bad ones.
Yeah, I'm going to go with martyr. In some ways, the mushroom people are the martyr of our upcoming future, as it now turns to the sky.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. The mushroom men from below the earth. We're some of the first to work with Latraman, and also the first to turn against that regime and be put down, as an example to the others, totally extirpated. So you recognize Princess Destroying Angel, the kind of leader of these this band of mushrooms, as someone who was kind of martyred for trying to turn against the regime that the ghosts whisper about. Does that work for you?
Yeah, and I think I look to Red Robe and I say, like, I can't fight against these people. They were my allies, and here in your witch, they'll be the first to fall to defend you all from. She looks confused for a second. L'autre main.
I am happy.
You mustn't destroy them.
I am happy to not fight anyone at basically any time. Do you have a better plan?
I'll ask out of character. I feel like a giant underground army will take a moment of truth in some way or another. My question is, Ryan or Blitz, whether one of you wants this one.
If you're excited to use yours, I'd be happy to hear yours. I think if I use mine, it will be directly against your advice. I think Red Robe is very happy to have a peaceful solution here, but peaceful isn't really in his toolkit. His toolkit is smash everything and let someone else handle it.
I mean, your moment of truth does involve a certain degree of control over what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to read the text of it?
I mean, how do you feel about yours? If you're trying to save yours, I can use mine because they're my bad guys. But
I figured I would leave them to you because they're your dudes, and you might like reach some interesting spot with the amulet. So up to you.
I think in character, this is a place where Clyde is really inclined to defer. But if you want to punt, I can use mine. Let's do it.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. No, I want to talk. I want to see them first. If I'm going to do this, I want to have had the conversation. I think I rush at them. I know what they want.
So you are kind of running ahead of your teammates along the land bridge to where the underground army is starting to break through.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and so the mushroom leader says, "It's the surface dweller with the stolen amulet. Concentrate all fire on him." And a bunch of plasma bolts start whizzing towards you.
They seem to care a great deal about me. Am I in a position to either pierce the mask or provoke just once?
Yeah, just tell me what you do.
Like I think Clyde would really love some answers. And so I don't love the pierce the mask questions. I think I'm in pretty bad shape on both roles mechanically. I think I want to provoke them to tell me like what the hell is up with this amulet. So I think that looks like charging them, like not quite engaging it, and more or less asking straight up, like why do you want this so badly? And then I'm rolling at -2.
Okay, so you're charging in, presumably like doing a little bit of amulet work to deflect the plasma bolts, but you're mostly just trying to get talk. You're trying to provoke them to spill.
The deflection is classic Clyde. It's they're missing him, but not by a lot. He's really, really trying not to engage more power than he needs to. Yeah, but that's a disaster.
What did you roll there?
4 - 2 is 2.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So you're gonna get foolish crawler under the terrifying oversun. You do not attempt to convince us. You do not know you wear one of the 7 stolen amulets of the Sorcerer Kings. And then they like unload on you with a plasma cannon. Mark, well, you've got so many conditions marked already.
If you want me to mark a condition, I've got a couple.
Mark a condition.
I think, despite his best doing, I think I'm gonna mark angry. It's been a long day. And these guys are threatening my friends and my entire society and our whole way of being. And I think I'm angry.
What what you gonna do about it, Red Robe?
I think I'd like to use my moment of truth.
Can you read that for us?
The limits of humanity, time, and space fall away. The world is at your command. More than that, the cosmos is eager for you to bend reality to your will. You are like unto a god. Later, there may come consequences for meddling with the cosmic weft. The universe's powers that be may come in force to leash your might. But for this one moment, you are all powerful and serene. All shall love you in despair. I think...
Legit. Then you get to tell us a little about what this looks like.
I think Clyde has taken Phantom Pain's words to heart and is going to do his best, but under heavy fire with everything under threat, sort of like projects himself at the amulet and lets go. And I think what we see is the earth opens up and we see this like gaping chasm where the, mushroom people have been trying to climb up and they just fall. There's just this, like hole opening up all the way to where they came from. Or some really substantial distance below the surface, where they fall out of sight and it closes behind them. And I think the comic focuses in on the like suddenness and the depth, and we might see glimpses of what they pass on their way down. But it's just an implausibly great hole, implausibly swiftly resolved, pushing them back, weeks or months or more.
And it sounds like you're sealing the ground over them.
Right, exactly.
And what does Clyde look like while he's doing this?
I think you extremely can't see his face. I think it's really important that you can't make out his expression. The amulet is glowing brighter than we've ever seen. His hands are radiating. There's a glow from behind the hood, but you can't even really see eyes. And it's this sort of like, floating, expanded, like, in as much as he is in charge of what happened to the earth, he is not particularly in charge with what's happening to his body. And it's just like a...
Yeah. And can we have one war rhinoceros left on the surface for us to commandeer?
I think Red Robe can choose to leave one, right?
All of time and space.
I think I am worried about the army. If there is a rhinoceros that's like pinned into a rock, like whatever, man.
Well, I think Johnny Earthquake is wrestling one, and like while you drop the rest of them, he's like just left hanging on to this one.
I totally believe it. I'm not fucking with him at all. I really like, even though, as a player looking at my moment of truth, I feel like I could make Red Robe like plink it off. I think that like playing to the fiction, Clyde would absolutely just like not mess with something that was too close to a person.
Yeah. All right. So we've got that. There's one rhinoceros left. Johnny Earthquake's like, "Hey guys, I made a friend," and we Blitz. You see the Gauntleteer like look at Red Robe and like whistle and be like, "Glad that kid's on our side, huh?"
Yeah, and it's like as we board the war rhinoceros, I look at Johnny Earthquake and look at the rhinoceros. And I say, "Looks like you're going to get your payday today, after all."
Sorry, folks. I'm going to call for a 2-minute pause, and then we'll wrap things up. But just 2-minute pause here, and then we'll be back. All right.
Woo-hoo! Man. I was supposed to meet Beatrice in person next month. Like, as of 6 months ago or whatever. It's wild.
Have you rescheduled?
I mean, we were going to go to Gen Con.
Oh, right.
And Gen Con is all online now.
Right.
Excited for it, but it's, not at all going to be the same thing.
I've never been.
I've never been either.
Oh.
I've seen, I've been following webcomics guys who have been going to Gen Con way longer than I've been playing RPGs, and I was super pumped to possibly meet a couple of them in person. And hang out with Alexi and Leah and Beatrice.
Hey, friends. Thanks for the pause. Baby is being fed now, so
Success.
exactly. All right, and we can just say her sound effects are the sounds of the mushroom people reacting to Red Robe's moment of truth.
It's the mushroom people and not the ghosts. I figured it was the ghosts.
Maybe the ghosts. Who knows? It's a wild world out there. I think one last panel of kind of reactions to moment of truth. We get just in a mysterious location, a honorary model of the solar system, and a little red spark is coming up off of the miniature planet Earth, and there's a speech balloon, but it's all in unparsable glyphs, and then the editor's note translates it as, "There he is."
Oh boy.
Now I say let's get some just last panels of each of our heroes, as it sounds like we are barreling back towards New Gauntlet City in a commandeered rhinoceros drill machine from deep underground. Raggedy Jan, what do we see as a sort of final panel here?
Yeah, it's she's got her reporter's notebook out, and she's interviewing Johnny Earthquake, and it's taking notes. And you can see the headline. You can see the headline: Johnny Earthquake, a new hero for Sherwood.
Yeah, that's great. Phantom Pain, what do you think we see?
Assuming we're barreling away on our stolen war elephant, I think
Right.
Phantom Pain putting Pillion, all the way in back and looking at the rain. You can see kind of first that she just looks like she's looking into the distance, but then you see her and basically a swarm of ghosts passing in front of her, and her almost mentally flicking past them quickly, looking for ones in particular. So it's even ghosts of little ants our war elephant steps on the way. And we just see that she's looking really hard to try and make sure that the mushroom people she knows didn't die when that happened.
But this Phantom Pain has a ghost Rolodex she's able to flip through then. Blitz, what do we see as a final panel?
I think she's it's just her looking out the window, of the war rhinoceros, and just sort of deep in thought and thinking back to what the ghosts at the beginning of the issue said to her about being the architect and installing a flaw, and she's also thinking about what she saw Clyde do, and just is reflecting on how, in her mind, in the mind of a 17-year-old girl, it seemed very mature, right? And she sort of is thinking that as leveling up. She's wondering if she has that in her.
Yeah, absolutely. And Red Robe, what do we see?
I think you see him sort of like you see images from the fight in sort of like a hazy dream bubble sequence next to like assorted rules from his list, like, you know, never overreact.
Are some of them crossed off?
I don't think they're crossed off, but I think the juxtaposition stands for both of us. Like, the rules stand whether he's failed or not. Never overreact. Always face your failures. Only use my powers to help someone else. Avoid people, even bad people, if there is any other choice.
Yeah.
And that sort of like the giving the like strong ambivalence of doing something like deeply impressive that nonetheless doesn't feel like a success.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, let's just let's do these end of session moves as we're closing out the comic on, you know, the new Gauntlet City, you know, rising in the distance and getting rapidly closer as the team barrels back towards it in their commandeered rhino. Raggedy Jan, did you grow closer to the team, into your own image of yourself, or away from the team?
I think I grew into my own image of myself. I feel like I'm going to shift her mundane up and her superior down, because it's like where she was really effective was as Mary Annika Baroshka, as just appealing to Johnny Earthquake.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw you kind of leaning harder onto your reporter skills in the end there. Absolutely. Phantom Pain, did you grow closer to the team, into your own image of yourself, or away from the team in a session where you have, you know, swapped into your alternate dimension self?
Interesting. You're in a sense further from the team because I'm presumably in a different dimension. Maybe the chain ghost one. I don't know if we swapped or just all moved laterally. But for the Phantom Pain I'm paying at the moment, I guess, you know, closer, since I didn't know this particular team. And here we are all working together.
Who made you feel welcome?
Esther here.
Yeah.
That also unlocks another advance for me, so I'll think about that.
Please do. Esther, you get to shift Phantom Pain's labels once more. You know, based on kind of however you evaluate this Phantom Pain, I guess.
Oh boy, I'm having trouble remembering what she did.
The previous shift you made, I think, was danger up, mundane down. So, you know, you both of those have room to move more, or you could do a different label shift to emphasize a different aspect of what you see.
Yeah, the connection with the mushroom people was really strange. So I think, Lee, if it's okay with you, I'm thinking maybe freak up and mundane down.
Seems fair. I'll make the shift.
Yeah, a -2 mundane now for Phantom Pain.
Or a ghost person.
I think you had like a positive mundane for a little while, which was you know, honestly pretty strange. So yeah, that totally makes sense. And Blitz, how about yourself? Do you think you grew closer to the team, into your own image of yourself, or away from the team?
I I think I grew closer to the team, and I feel like getting to know Kathleen a little bit better, and having that conversation with her / not her, made me feel closer.
Yeah, and her mom's ghost.
Yes.
So you can mark potential, clear a condition as a reward for getting closer to the team, and then Kathleen will shift your labels, I suppose. Or did Phantom Pain already have Blitz influence? Yes. Yes.
So you're going to mark potential.
And I think I'm going to make a savior up, superior down. Since I certainly can't just try shifting danger down after you shocked me, but or someone. But I think the way you've been this session is big power, but like a big heart for using it well.
All right. Blitz, people see you as a savior. You're gonna have to deal with that. Red Robe, what do you think? Did you grow closer to the team, into your own image of yourself, or away from the team?
I think definitely not the last two things. So closer to the team.
Who made you feel welcome?
I think that's got to be Phantom Pain, aka the only person who spoke to me this session.
Oh, poor Red Robe.
Then let's see. Wow, it was a real roller coaster with you here.
And that's what happens when you have phenomenal cosmic power and no one tries to rein you in.
I explicitly told you not to make a big mess of the mushroom people.
I mostly didn't.
I think still the sense of seeing a Red Robe who's constantly doing this, without the throttle on, or with the safety wheels off. I think that's going to be a superior up for your control, but for your general behavior, a savior down.
I buy it. I absolutely buy it. I'm such a wreck. That also pushes me up to another advancement that I have nothing in mind. I'm probably going to take an out of playbook move, but I don't know what yet, man. Shit.
I mean, you could always take that conduit move that incentivizes someone to talk to you when your powers are flaring out of control.
I've thought about it. I might. It's either that or an out of playbook move. I think we don't have enough time to make good use of the bull's heart, and I just don't care that much about stats.
This is fair. Well, thank you all for playing. We're ending this 4th issue of a 5-issue series, so we'll be back next time, bringing back Brawl, we hope, and getting to see a grand conclusion to the Gauntleteer is Missing arc. If anyone has been watching along with us, thanks for watching or listening, and we'll see you next time. Till then, keep on flying, and remember to do your bit.